gorgeous goddesses. Welcome to the Sagittarius Full Moon happening on June the 11th. So, Sagittarius is the freedom loving adventurer of the zodiac. It encourages us to seek out adventure and expansion and to fall in love with the journey. And yes, this can be travel, but this can also be metaphysically or mentally seeking out new concepts and ideas. So we are always learning, growing, and expanding. And this is a very active full moon. So I'm going to pull up the chart here. There's a lot going on. We have planets moving into their exaltation. We have a really powerful planetary aspect here that brings us back to December of 2020 and the goals and the vision that you set at that time. And this aspect is an opportunity to look at perhaps the challenges or the obstacles, which are really initiation portals on the way to that vision. So, a lot of goodness to dive into today. If you would like to pause for a moment and grab your birth chart, I'll be pointing out some hot spots for you to look at in your chart. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe, to hit the notification bell so you stay up to date on this cosmic magic. And there is a lot happening behind the scenes now with my team. There's going to be a really powerful rebrand happening on my YouTube. So stay up to date. For now, probably the best way to stay up to date with all of this is connect below on social. I'll attach the link to my Instagram and my Facebook, and I'll be announcing more there soon. But if you love these new and full videos, you're gonna love what I have coming your way. So definitely subscribe, stay up to date with all of this magic. And with that being said, let me share my screen and let's dive into this beautiful full moon energy, this active full moon. So we have the moon in Sagittarius, 20 degrees, opposing the sun in Gemini at 20 degrees. So this opposition is what makes it a full moon, and full moons act as amplifiers. So anything you've been feeling under the surface really comes to light at this time. Everything can feel really heightened, and that makes it a good time for releasing and healing work because we have more of an awareness around what's going on underneath the surface. What have I been bypassing that it's time to really look at? And it also makes it a great time for celebration. So share with me below. What are you celebrating this full moon? What are you releasing this full moon? And this Sagittarius energy here. So again, we have the seeker of the zodiac. This is about seeking out the next adventure, a mutable fire sign. This really brings in the energy of passion and drive and what lights you up in your life. Now, in the shadow side, this can be the constant seeking but never arriving. So that saying, the grass is always greener on the other side, that can be the lower octave of this energy, especially with a very active full moon chart. There could be this underlying feeling of restlessness or wanting to move, wanting to create change, but at the same time, maybe feeling stagnant. So just want to be aware of what we are calling to change at this time. Both Sagittarius and Gemini are mutable signs, and mutable signs remind us to embrace this energy of change and reinvention. We're not meant to stay where we are. We're actually meant to grow and evolve, but this requires new information. Sagittarius and Gemini, new information. And we live in a time where we are incredibly well resourced. Like you're here now accessing this information. There's so many other videos out there. Like we can find what we're looking for. There's an answer to our problem. There's solutions. And we want to be very intentional about who we're getting information from, the information that we are applying in our life, but we have never lived in a more well-resourced time where it's like right at our fingertips. So we don't need to stay stuck. And this energy is definitely a reminder of that, but it's focus momentum. It's not just action and change for the sake of it, but it's being very intentional about where we desire to go. And if we look at Sagittarius, I love this archer, where it's like we're pulling back to launch forward. And another message I'm feeling around this as well, really coming in from the records, is sometimes you may feel like you're moving backwards, but really you're just preparing to launch forward. So it's all about the meaning that we subscribe to what's happening in our life or any given experience that ultimately determines the outcome. So, what meaning are you subscribing to what's unfolding in your life at this time? Because again, that's going to actually determine what happens next for you. And when we took a look at the Gemini new moon, I really talked about this energy of stories and the narrative that we have for our life. And this continues with Sagittarius as well. They're on the same axes. They're opposite one another. So they work together in the sense of the narratives we have for our life, the stories we create for our life, and are they serving us, or is it time to write that new story? So that narrative is continuing here as we celebrate the full moon. So we have some powerful aspects happening here. The first one that's really standing out for me is a grand fire trine. So the moon is actually trining Mars in the sign of Leo. So Mars in Leo is so creative. It's all about our self-expression. And it's trining Chiron, an exact trine between Mars and Chiron in the sign of Aries, Chiron trining the moon. So this grand fire trine. And the element of fire is about passion, forward momentum, can also be anger. People that have a lot of fire energy in their chart can be prone to like angry outbursts, but they tend to come and go depending on other aspects in the chart. But it's this energy of like it's heightened emotion, it's excitement, and it's a good opportunity to look at how you're directing that passion in your life. What are you passionate about? What lights you up right now? What activates you? Fire energy is very activating. I talk to my clients about this often in their business. What's activating for them? Because that's where we get our creative ideas. That's where we fall in love with the process and the journey, and we're not so hung up on the end result or goal. We know we're constantly evolving, we're constantly growing. And if we pour a lot of energy into the process, then the outcome is certain. Like if we just focus on the process, that's where our power is. So this grand fire trine can be heightened energy around the time of the full moon. So I invite you to be very aware of what you're feeling internally, even moving your energy physically, like going for walks. One of my favorite energy techniques is tapping, EFT, relaxing your nervous system. But there's something here about let that energy move. Let that energy be expressed. Now, at the peak of this grand fire trine is Chiron in Aries. So there is also an element of healing here around self-expression, around leadership, around feeling confident in yourself and your ability to create change, to be that trailblazer. So a lot could come up with this full moon, a lot of emotion here. And not for you to get stuck in, but for you to really do that deeper layer of healing and continue moving forward. There's, again, forward momentum that's definitely happening here. So Neptune and Saturn, very early degrees of Aries as well. So a lot of this fire energy we are experiencing right now, Neptune and Saturn at the beginning degrees of Aries is so good for spiritual leadership. Like if you found your way here, I have no doubt that you are incredibly intuitive. You have gifts to share with this planet, and this is really a call for new paradigm leaders. Like rise up. We need your brilliance. We need your wisdom. We need your healing abilities. And this energy is also about deepening our connection with God, with Creator. There's been this shift you may have seen in the spiritual community where a lot of people are talking about like the new age to Jesus movement. And I actually think with this shift in Neptune and Saturn and Aries, we're gonna more come back to we have a personal relationship with God and no one else gets to determine what that looks like and no one else gets to judge that. You're here on your own unique path. So that can feel really heightened right now. What is your relationship with your higher self, with your spirit team, with God, with source energy? What are you here to create? This is also the creator point of the zodiac, Saturn and Neptune here. This is so powerful for, again, this storyline of like, what is the new narrative? What is this next chapter of your story you're writing? And we're always spiraling upward, always spiraling upward. So looking at, okay, where I am now. What do I desire to create? How do I desire to lead myself? What's my story look like going forward? It doesn't matter what happened in the past. What are you now creating? And Saturn is forming a square with Jupiter. So this is huge here. Think back to December 2020. I did a workshop on this. December 2020, we had the great conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter. This was like every astrologer was talking about it. It was a big deal. It was a big energy. And think about what was happening in our world at that time. It was a lot of change. I also invite you to think about what were the intentions you set for yourself, your journey, your vision at that time. Because now this square formation here can be an opportunity to say, okay, there may be challenges that are coming up, there may be obstacles, but they're calling you to rise. You are greater than any obstacle that comes your way. You will forever and always rise up. I associate that mantra with the Aries energy, the warrior, the warrioress of I move forward no matter what. Nothing's getting in my way. And sometimes we can fall into this trap of thinking that like obstacles mean we're going in the wrong direction, but that is not always the case. Often it's an initiation portal and it's really looking at who am I called to be in order to have what I desire. The experiences we move through strengthen us, and it doesn't mean like we're not on track or things going wrong. Like I think of a program I wanted to sign up for and I was having trouble with like the tech side and signing up. It wasn't going through and I could have easily said, "Oh, I guess this is a sign from the universe. I'm not meant to do that." But I knew I was. I knew my desire to be in this space was the desire and like the actual next step was for me to just reach out to the team, let them know and get set up. And it was kind of this initiation of mindset shift of, oh, just because there's obstacles on the way to what I want, I don't give in to that. I find a solution. So there's something here about your being strengthened. We're all being strengthened right now to get to this next level of our journey, to expand and to grow. And Saturn can be notorious for bringing obstacles or challenges, but it's not to hurt us. It's actually to mold us and shape us and to make us wiser and stronger and more devoted to our path and move us closer to love. And Jupiter here, so this is a big shift happening with Jupiter on June the 9th. Jupiter is the ruler of this full moon. Jupiter is about expansion and abundance and joy and optimism in life. It's like the energy of good luck and good fortune. I believe we create our own luck, but Jupiter is very much connected to that energy of abundance and expansion. And on June the 9th, it moved into the sign of Cancer. So at the time of this full moon, we see it's at 0 degrees of Cancer. It is exalted in this energy. And when a planet is in its exaltation, it's extra powerful. So if we think about the Cancerian traits of intuition, being connected to our emotions and our inner world, nourishing ourselves, Jupiter there is an amplification of our intuitive gifts. And I really love Jupiter in Cancer because it's this energy of like, go for it. So the Cancerian archetype by nature can be more cautious, more safe. And when Jupiter is here, it's like, you don't have to worry, expand and grow. Like, you don't have to worry. You don't have to have fear when you're connected to your inner guidance system, when you're trusting your intuition, which is one of the gifts of Cancer. It's extremely intuitive. Even Mercury is in Cancer right now. Intuition is at an all-time high at this full moon. And it's inviting us to expand, to take that leap of faith, to follow our intuition, to not overthink. To not overthink because that's when we tend to fall into what's predictable, what's safe, or we just go in circles in our mind and it all gets very confusing. This energy here, trust your intuition. Lean into it, take the action, go for it. Action brings clarity. And yes, there's an element of nourishing here, how you're nourishing yourself, what does light you up, prioritizing that in your life, not allowing somebody else's viewpoint or ideas of the world or what's possible to be stronger than what you know in your heart. What a journey that is for all of us. Not allowing other people's ideas of the world or what they've created or their lens to become our lens, to become our narrative, but to let our intuition be our ultimate guide. So Jupiter is going to be in Cancer until the end of June 2026. So we have a whole year in this energy where it's in its exaltation. And I know I'm personally very excited for this cosmic shift. I think it's going to be so supportive for all of us. And as I talk about some of this water energy here, Jupiter and Mercury in Cancer, we also see the North Node in Pisces bringing in that element of water as well. And I actually really love this energy of this full moon. If we can stay in the higher octave and not get pulled into the overthinking or this chaotic feeling or the restless feeling, and instead we're like, we allow ourselves to dream, to create, to envision not only the future we want to step into, because that's an illusion, like past, present, future. It's ultimately all in the now. Look at the like now moment. What are you creating? You're a powerful creator. What are you creating through your thoughts, through your decisions, through your actions? And what if you could get out of the old program that's playing and you're like, what else is possible? Even asking yourself that, asking ourselves new questions will redirect our focus, which will create a different life experience. It'll change what we see. It'll change what we know is possible. So, kind of asking yourself, like, what else is possible? What does adventure look like for me right now? What would taking the risk look like? What would saying yes to my desires look like? And can I go for it? What's something I can do today that moves me in that direction? So we're really learning here with the North Node in Pisces to trust our intuition, the South Node in Virgo, letting go of overthinking, over organizing, over planning, and we're learning to feel safe in the unknown. That's like true trust in the universe. If we can fall in love with being in the void where we don't have all the answers, we don't have everything perfectly laid out, and yet we still feel safe, we still feel loved, and we have our intuition as our guide, and we're co-creating with the universe, like how magical is that? That's what we are invited to step into at this time. So that is our full moon in Sagittarius. Once again, I would love to hear from you below. What resonated with you? What landed with you? What are you releasing in this full moon energy? And what are you celebrating? I love to celebrate. The energy of celebration brings us into the energy of gratitude. The energy of gratitude preps us for quantum expansion and helps us fall in love with life and fall in love with the journey, which is essentially what the Sagittarius energy and archetype is all about. Embrace the adventure, embrace freedom, fall in love with the journey. And I am sending you all so much love. Enjoy this lunar energy, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.